Well, as you can see, it's a very cloudy day in Texas. We've got storms for the next 8 days, but we're gonna review an action camera. Now, the last time that I reviewed an Eken camera was the Eken Alfawise V50 Pro, which didn't have electronic image stabilization. Right now, I'm gonna be reviewing the Eken Alfawise 4K Plus, the H6S. Right now I'm shooting 4K, 25 frames per second. Let's dive a little deeper, and that's coming right up. And first things first, I'd like to say a big thank you to GearBest.com for providing me the Alfawise Eken H6S for review. So let's take a look what's inside the box. Now, we'll say it's a nice handy little bag that it comes with. So we've got the action camera in a waterproof case. We've got the remote control, which I honestly don't use a lot, but I will try it out just to test it and see how well that it works. A little GoPro accessory, 3M sticky, got your charging cable, look like a handlebar mount, some more GoPro compatible accessories. Got the little cage, which has a quarter 20 screw on the bottom, another mount. And the top side here, we've got a little tripod with rubberized feet on the bottom, which is a nice addition to have because nothing wrong with the little tripod. Got a wristband for the remote control, another sticky, 3M sticky GoPro type mount. Got your stainless steel lanyard cable, a couple of zip ties, and the Eken H6S manual. So let's take the camera out of its waterproof case and just take a nice little look at it. The camera is of a very nice build quality, I will say. It is aluminum on the outer edge shell, which reminds me of the SJ Cam SJ7 Star, and I'm sure that that's going to help out with heat dissipation. Got a Wi-Fi button right over here. It's got a 2-inch screen on the back. It is not a touch screen. You've got the shutter button up on top. You've got a microphone here, got a speaker here, an LCD display that is not able to be turned off, but it gives you basic information of your shooting mode. Let me turn this on just so you can see what I'm talking about. So 4K, 25 frames a second, EIS is on, and it gives you battery, what the battery life is left inside. You've got your HDMI, you've got a micro USB for charging. You've got your SD card slot here. And let's take a look at the back. Now, to navigate through the system, you have to push the front power or the front mode button. And what that'll do, it'll navigate through mode. So you've got your camera right there. And then you've got burst mode. You've got time-lapse video, which you can choose the interval as well. Time-lapse photo, review the video, photo, settings. So they got video resolution. So it starts off with 4K 30, which does not have electronic image stabilization, but all of the others do. 4K 25, 2.7K at 30 frames per second, 1080p 60, 1080p 30, and that is it. So there is no 1080p 120, and there is no 720. And like I said, image stabilization is not available at 4K 30 frames per second, but that's not really a deal breaker. Now, talking about the hardware that's in this camera boasts an Umbrella A12 chipset, and it's paired up with the Panasonic image sensor inside of here. So now the Umbrella chipset is capable of 4K 30, and it is capable of 120 frames per second, but I think it has a lot to do with the Panasonic image sensor is not capable of 120 frames per second, nor is it capable of EIS at 4K 30 frames per second. But the majority of this video is going to be shot in 4K 25. I'm going to downscale it to 1080. We'll see some video quality. Now, I just did a charge on the battery not that long ago, and it's already showing half battery life, so I'm going to give it a full charge again, and then we're going to cycle through some of the video samples. I'll do an audio test, and we'll see how long the battery lasts. So like I said in the previous part, not the optimal lighting conditions. It's not bright and sunny daylight out here, but this is the only little break of rain or from rain that we've had now for the last about 8 hours, and it's just been very overcast. We got more storms coming for the next 7-8 days, so it is what it is. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity just to kind of see image quality, 4K 25 frames per second with electronic image stabilization. I'm just holding this handheld right now and just kind of walking around the backyard with it in my hand. I didn't want to put it inside the little skeleton cage and use the tripod. The reason being is skeleton cage covers up the top microphone. But just to see image quality, you can see my fig tree is about to start bearing some figs here pretty soon, which is nice because they're very yummy. But let's try some different resolution. So 2.7K, 30 frames per second. Yeah, don't pay attention to the pool. It's turned on me again with all this rain. So I'm gonna have to shock it again, get her back in balance, but I gotta get the filter cleaned out. So let's go down to 1080, 60. Alright, 1080p, 60 frames per second. Do a little pan through the grass to see if there's any artifacts while it's moving here. My magnolia tree. I will say that the image on the back of the screen looks very good. Every time that EIS is activated, on the top right hand side of the screen, a little red box pops up and it says EIS. It will notify you that EIS has been engaged, because once you stop and you stand still, that kind of goes away. So I guess EIS is not really needed, because maybe the gyro sensor has now sensed that nothing going on. But we'll see how good the image stabilization is. Like I said, the brightness of the rear screen is very nice. The colors on the rear screen look very bright, very vibrant, very clear. Now 1080, 30 frames per second. See how the image quality looks. Like I said, it's very overcast, so exposure looks like it takes just a second for the exposure to compensate, or the white balance, should I say. And I guess while I'm shooting 1080p at 30, I'll go ahead and do a little audio test. It's in my hand, so I'm just hand holding this right now. So we'll do a little audio test. I'm about 1.5 feet, 2 feet away from it. Do an audio test. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. I guess we can go inside and see what low light looks like in indoor conditions, which I don't expect it to do phenomenally well, like most action cameras do not do well. The back of the screen, the image looks nice and bright. Alright, now shooting 4K, 30 frames per second. Like I said, it does not offer image stabilization at 4K 30, so I'm using the Hohem iSteady Pro gimbal to stabilize this footage. And by the way, for those of you that got the iSteady Pro, there is a new update that really addressed a lot of the issues with the gimbal. So I'll put a product link in the description below to the iSteady Pro gimbal, because for 99 bucks for a 3-axis gimbal, you really can't go wrong. These peaches are going to be yummy this year. So now we get to see what the image quality looks like at 4K 30 frames per second if you use the gimbal. If you're thinking about a gimbal for $99 like the iSteady Pro and you match it with this 4K camera, now you have a situation where you have a pretty good little blocking setup where you get good stabilized footage, good image quality for under $200. So let's stick all this footage in the computer and take a look and see how good it turned out. So what are my impressions of the Eken Alfawise 4K Plus H6S? You know, I think it's a very nice camera given its price point. And, you know, some of its downfalls, I'm going to say, are the no image stabilization at 4K 30 frames a second, although you do have it at 4K 25. Another downfall is that you do not have a 1/4-20 screw that is part of the body of the camera, although it is with the little extended skeleton case housing that you can put over it. I do like the fact that it has a battery drawer, which it seems like a lot of action cameras are now all offering a battery drawer instead of that little lip thing that you always had to flip off. The battery that comes with this is a 1050 milliamp per hour battery. It only comes with one battery, so I wish it came with two, but you know, like I said, for the price point, beggars really can't be choosers. It's all about the image quality. I think the image quality and the audio is very nice out of this camera. When you're shooting 4K at 30 or 4K at 25 frames a second, the housing does get very warm, but then again, that's kind of to be expected with the Umbrella chipset and shooting at 4K. And I've seen a couple reviewers that had said that they think that the 4K is interpolated on this, and I do not believe that that is the case. I think, because I kind of pixel peeped it, and it looks like it is a native 4K resolution that we're getting with this camera. So all in all, I mean, I think the audio quality is nice. I think the video quality is very nice. Once again, a big thank you to GearBest.com for supplying me this camera for my unbiased, honest review. And I'll put a product link in the description below so that you guys can check it out for yourself. And tell me, what do you think about this Eken Alfawise? Alfawise brand seems to be synonymous with GearBest.com now. So tell me, what do you think about it? Do you think it's good? And I'll do some comparative videos of this against like the Eken Alfawise V50 Pro and maybe some other cameras. But you know, 4K 30 I think is very nice, especially if you use it with a gimbal. So tell me what you think. I seem to think that this one, on a scale of 2 thumbs up, I'm going to give it a 1.5 thumbs, because I just wish it had electronic image stabilization at 4K 30, because it is 2019. So until the next review, I hope you guys have yourself a great day. Be good to one another, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.